Hello, guys and gals.
It's a
Me,
middle height, by the way.
Mutahar, and today I'm going to
Jeez, that is a
install
weird camera he's
Linux
using.
on the PlayStation 2. Now, you might be wondering, Muta, why would you even do this? What is the point of this entire endeavor? Isn't the PlayStation 2 older than
Now,
most of your...
if you didn't know, I think it was the Air Force used some of the pieces out of the PlayStation 2 to run their servers or something. I don't know if that's still going on or that was like 20 years ago or something like that.
your fan base? I would probably wager to say yes, as depressing as that sounds, because that means I'm just getting decrepit and old. But the PlayStation 2 was, at the time, one of the best systems ever made. It was such a prominently amazing
I have a hot take. The PS5, Xbox 2's S and X are the worst consoles to ever release.
system that at
That's all
one
I'm gonna
point
say.
there was actually really legitimate actual gaming journalism going on about would Saddam Hussein potentially use a PlayStation 2 to I don't know, use UAVs,
Yeah,
ICBMs,
you
so
used
on and
them
so
for
forth. It was some genuine ass fear mongering back in the day.
the the
Now, I'm proud to
the
say that
boys
Saddam
when the boys
Hussein
inside are
did not
really
use the
useful,
PlayStation 2 for
really good
nefarious
for different
purposes.
things.
In fact, if anything, Saddam Hussein got squad wiped by, from what I understand, the
Oh,
hands of the United States military and the United States government. Okay, so
that's unfortunate.
things were a lot different there. But the PlayStation 2 was hands down one of the most iconic systems for Sony at the time. And when it released, during its life cycle, I think it was the highest selling console of that generation. And
It might
not
have
only
been.
was it
I
one of the
almost did.
highest selling consoles of that generation, it was also the weakest system of that generation.
Oh, look at that. Nintendo handheld 154 mil. Nintendo hybrid. Uh, that's the 2017. That's a Switch, right? Sony. I mean, that's still selling a lot. That's still better than all these.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 was weaker than the GameCube and absolutely weaker than the original Xbox.
Ooh,
But even though it was weak, that didn't stop the original PlayStation from having some absolute banger games, whether it
the
be
GameCube was
Grand
awesome.
Theft Auto
I
San
love the GameCube.
Andreas, which at the time had a map that felt limitless. I mean, imagine growing up in that era and playing a Grand Theft Auto game
I grew
with
up with
two
Black
more
Ops 2,
cities than you
Halo,
usually get,
all that.
okay? All the features imaginable, but it's not just Grand Theft Auto. You had your hands on, PC ports of games like Deus Ex, which weren't great, by the way, but just the fact that they existed was all you kind of needed. And of course, let's not forget the beauty of Silent Hill 2, one of the greatest
I never played
games,
Silent Hill.
not just on the PlayStation 2, but of
I'm
all
not a horror
time. These
person.
kind of games absolutely reveled in using the actual limitations of the PlayStation 2 to their advantage. And it was at the point where I feel like every AAA publisher and every company imaginable was absolutely trying to one up each other in the market of the PlayStation 2. And yeah,
All
it's
these
a
companies
it's a
trying to one up
decent
each
enough
other.
system for its time, and the fact that some developers were able to render entire cities into it was absolutely a marvel of its time. But of course, the original
Now anybody
PlayStation
can do
was
it.
not
Anybody can
just
do it
one of the
today.
most prolifically awesome consoles, it was also a system that you could actually hack and run homebrew on. Now, to be
I don't know
fair,
what that
the
is.
best system of that generation to hack and play around with was the original Xbox, okay? Chances are, if you buy an original Xbox secondhand these days, there's a pretty good chance people have already
Yeah, I heard
hacked the
about that.
original dashboard, and you
I
can
thought
run
that was
all
interesting. I just got
forms
the
of
original Xbox in
homebrews,
my closet right now.
emulators. Hell, you could use the original Xbox as a full-on media server in your house, okay? But the PlayStation 2 obviously was weaker. There were some options. So for instance, Free McBoot, for anybody that doesn't know, utilizes an actual exploit on the memory card of the PlayStation
Also,
2.
I forgot to say, uh, you might be getting into some hacking, not hacking, but using emulators. I do not endorse any of it. Do not do this. Do this at your own discretion.
And you can actually run custom homebrew right from the actual system. No
You may
mod
mess
kit,
up your
no
system
nothing
if you do this.
required. You can run custom burned DVDs if you wanted through things like ESR patching. Not that I'm advocating that in any capacity. Emulators, I believe you could play things like NES relatively well, but given the fact the PlayStation 2 was not the strongest system in the world, obviously it's not something that I would really even waste my time
Yeah, why
emulating
would
on.
you? Do
If you
not
want
stream
a
back.
perfect system, probably the PlayStation 3 custom firmware. You can pick up a PlayStation 3 relatively for cheap nowadays, and
How much?
modifying one is
I'm gonna check that out fast. How much is this PlayStation 3? You get for 100 from Walmart, 115 ish, 120. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. How about PS2? PS2, you can get about the same amount. Oh, PS2's actually go for 150, but it's on sale now. That's interesting.
Is not necessarily that difficult. But that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go look inside the PlayStation 2 Linux. So PS2 Linux was actually an official release, from what I understand,
Oh,
by Sony. It was
I didn't know
actually a
they
kit
actually
released
officially
by
released
them
that.
in 2002 that allowed the PlayStation 2 console to basically be used as a
I didn't know they
personal
supported
computer.
that. I thought it's
So
just
not only
some
did they
random
give you
person
the
did it.
Linux operating system, a USB keyboard, and a mouse, but you can actually take advantage of that 40 gig hard drive in your PlayStation 2 for something more than Final Fantasy, I think it was 12 at the time, or was it? No,
Who
it was Final
knows?
Fantasy
We're on like
11.
17 coming up or
So
something like
up
that.
until this point, I wasn't really somebody that was going to do a video on this, because if you look up the price
I've been
of
seeing videos on this for
Linux
the last couple
on
of years.
PS2,
Like
if you just go
years.
to eBay real quickly, the actual kit itself will run you somewhere around
Ooh.
$641, okay?
Oh, dude, that is expensive. And the next one's barely cheaper. That's Japan. That's Japanese. Uh, that's pretty expensive.
Sometimes it might run you
250.
$611, depending on the version you go for. But if you wanted some beautiful discs, mind you, from Bubba Games, $250. Now look, I'm not necessarily strapped for cash here, but I'm
Nah,
not
I'm
going to
not.
be absolutely paying hundreds of dollars
It's
for
not worth
fucking
it.
Linux on the PlayStation 2, okay? This shit is supposed to be a novelty, and I'm going to treat it like a novelty. So at this moment in time, I kind of put this entire project on hold for a little bit. Until, of course, I found out through Vim's Lair they actually had PlayStation 2 Linux available, both discs uploaded recently.
So you get it for free,
Now, my
basically.
ass thought maybe I could just download those discs, burn them to actual DVDs, and run them on the PlayStation 2. So,
You still
ladies and
do that?
gentlemen, down
You
this
still do
journey, I
that?
actually ended up
Man, that's a
picking up one
while
of
ago.
these
I
optical
haven't seen a
writable,
disc
like
in years.
devices for my PC. All right, so this is
That's
from what I
external.
understand, ZWiiU. All right, a device
I
from
think it's
China.
external.
All right, I ran this obviously underneath virtual machines and layers of security, but I got a couple of DVDs, burned it to this, burned these discs, and unfortunately, I was greeted with the scary red screen of death.
Uh-oh.
Now, usually, if your PlayStation 2 disc is
I remember
busted,
seeing
or
that
you insert
years
something
ago.
that isn't, designed for the PS2, it'll usually freak you out. The first time I saw this screen was when I was like, God damn, a kid at dark? Absolutely some scary stuff. You're being sent into the evil void.
Yeah.
So before being sent into the evil void
Pretty much
again,
how
I
it's like.
decided I'm not going to give up on this adventure. My channel is not about giving up stupid tech projects like this, okay? If I'm getting Linux on the PlayStation 2, I'm fucking getting Linux on the PlayStation 2. So at this moment in time, everything started shifting to
Should I try doing that? Okay. I mess with Linux. I have a Linux system. Not my main system, but a Linux system as a side system for practicing Linux. Should I try doing that on a PlayStation too?
something
I
else.
think they
And
said
then
the
I
thing is
found out
free.
that
I
there was
might as well
actually
try
a
it.
PlayStation 2 Linux distribution by the name of Black Rhino. So, yes, there is still, I believe, somewhat of an active
Alright.
project of
Use discretion when you go to these. I'm not responsible for anything that happens to you.
people developing Linux for the PlayStation 2. Now, currently it's on version 3.0 stable and 4.0 if you want to get into the experimental weeds. Uh, the fact that I'm running Linux in the first place is already amazing to me. So I'm going to run the simple,
His main
God's
system is
honest
Linux
version
too.
of PlayStation Linux using version 3. Now, to get this basically to work, what I had to do was get a USB drive, something, 64 gigs or so, and what I did was I partitioned it manually underneath my computer. So basically, because we're running Linux, what I did was I created a home directory, home partition, a boot
It's very
partition, and
normal.
of course your swap space, which is around 200 megabytes. Once I did this, I basically took the ISO file, the live disk file for Black Rhino, and I copied the boot information like VM Linus, the initial RAM disk, over to the boot directory. And
Wait.
then, of course, I
This thing is anus overload.
copy the main Linux operating system files and binaries to the BlackRock, directory, the home directory I made. And of course, I went into the default custom configuration settings and basically modified, devices for boot time, enabling swap space and whatnot. So if it sounds incredibly complicated doing that, it is. It can be. There was definitely some hair pulling, but here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Lunix on the PlayStation 2. Now, I'm sorry for the guerrilla style videography. Unfortunately, no matter what capture card I use, and I've tried a bunch, I cannot for the life of me capture Linux underneath it. Maybe there's something to do with the resolution on display here, but unfortunately it just wasn't working. But thankfully, I actually have it, recorded off screen with my phone. Now, I feel like this adds a little bit of
Yeah, that
I feel
adds a
like
lot
this
of
just
history.
adds a little bit of old school YouTube charm to it. So I'm not
I
gonna
swear, I've seen people get thousands of views, over 100,000 views on videos, and it's just them playing a game on their iPad, and someone else is recording them from over their shoulder.
really take this as a big L. But yeah, if you're wondering why I'm recording off screen, that's literally why. So here it is. I've got a mouse connected now. Because of the
To be
PlayStation
fair though,
2
the screen
fat
looks
that I'm
pretty
using,
good,
I
even
have
like
literally
this.
two USB
I
ports.
see
So
there'd be so
one
many
is for the
glares
actual
and stuff.
USB
It's
key that
awful.
runs the entire Linux OS, and this is going to be the reason why it's going to be really slow, because the USB controller on the PlayStation 2 is like 1.1, so it's really slow. Like, I think it's less than a megabit per second transfer rate. And of course, I have a mouse connected. You can connect a keyboard, but there's a lot more you can do with just the mouse. So first things first, we've got multiple workspaces, so www and main. So of course we've got a few applications, but of course I'm gonna hit the music real quick, because I feel like starting some of that hot fire and seeing just like the capability. So this is desktop operating system. So at this point we've basically turned our gaming console into, again, an actual functioning desktop computer.
It's
Now, of
always
course, it's
useful.
trying to play some Lana
I
Del Rey,
I don't know who
and
else
obviously
is
I'm
gonna be
not going
doing
to
this
get
besides
content
maybe the
ID struck over
government
here, so we're just going to
or
back out of that real quick.
someone
But if
that
we go to
wants to
our
mess around with us.
information panel, you can see that we're on GNU Windows Maker version 0.61.1. We're not even at version 1, okay? We're not even there. Now, of course, the thing about it, I believe this version of Linux is like 2.6.0, so this is old. But you can see that
Yeah, it
it
sounds
comes
pretty
with
old.
things like Mozilla Firefox. So if you have this connected through the network port to your actual internet, which unfortunately I don't have, you can actually browse the internet relatively well. So again, you got to mind the actual boot times for some of these programs. I am connected through a flash drive. This would be a lot faster if I had, modified my actual PlayStation 2
Yeah.
internal hard drive, but I didn't because I have some games stored on there, and I don't think I want to lose them just for a novelty. I actually much prefer playing some Vice City later. Now, there's other functions like Dillo. I don't even know what that is. And you've got play YouTube video and
So you use YouTube.
XMMS. And one thing is for sure, it's actually lagging. I think it's freezing up a little bit. It's trying to launch some
That's not good.
programs, and it's really not having a good time. So here is Dillo, for instance, which
Still
is
ain't working
apparently
properly.
one browser, and it seems pretty lightweight. Almost reminds me of shit like Netscape, for instance. And of course, it says DNS can't resolve Google.com because we're not connected to anything. But yes, you can browse the web on your PlayStation 2 if you wanted to, okay? Not saying that I think anybody would really choose to do this, but it's an option. I think it's interesting because they've got a system load
What's
here,
on
so I
that?
might want to
They
open
have
this
an
up and just
emulator
see
thing
how
too.
much of my system load here. So I might.
Let's go back a little bit. You see info, legal system, okay, internet, workspaces, applications, emulators, editors, utilities, selection, iToy. What's an iToy? Appearances, workspace. Wait, you have workspaces and workspace. Why does it have one tab? Oh, I don't
Load
care.
here. So I
I'm
might
not
want
even
to
getting into
open
that.
this up and
Whoever
just
made
see
this,
how much of my system
it
is
is what it
being
is.
absolutely tanked. So there's 32 megabytes of onboard memory for the PlayStation 2, but there's also 200 megs of swap space. And I'm wagering we're using a lot of that swap space right now. And the fact that it's all on the flash drive, that poor USB is just getting absolutely tanked right now, boys. Do we got a graph here? Oh my god. Oh, it's loading up top, bro. It's giving me that toppy top. Oh my
God,
god.
don't repeat that,
Oh my
David.
the window, dude. Firefox alone is using like
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I don't even I don't think Firefox is going to load up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, you can see that, it's
probably
got a
not.
whole it's got a few threads over here, And obviously, this poor system is getting absolutely demolished right now. Look at
Hey,
this like poor
PS2s ain't
graph
made
over
for
here.
this
This
no
like
more.
manifestation of the PlayStation 2 processor going ape shit. Okay, let's try emulators. Oh my, wait, let's
Oh yeah,
actually
whoa,
see
whoa, whoa, whoa.
applications. So what
Oh,
they've
he
loaded
skipped
up
it.
in this
Uh-huh.
beyond just
XPDF, file runner, GF, Pigeon. Pigeon is still used, I believe. Transmission, VNC viewer, virtual keyboard, GIMP.
internet stuff is obviously a PDF opener. They've got file runner, GV. They've got a torrent manager, dude. They've
Oh, that's what
actually
it is.
legit got like a torrent client waiting for people on this. So yeah, if you wanted to, I guess, torrent on the PlayStation 2, that's oh my god, Firefox is loading up.
Oh wow,
Oh my
that's
god.
surprising.
Oh my god. I think it's crashing it, dude. I think it actually is genuinely crashing
Dude,
the
this
system.
dude's monitor is giant.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
Okay, I think the
let's
actual
go back
system.
and time it.
Jesus
Dude, this dude's monitor is ginormous. That's a whole screen right there, and that's this other screen right next to it.
Christ. Okay, I think the actual system really froze, so we're going to restart the actual entire process here real quick and just try to get back into Linux and see what else it has to offer. So, moral of the story, okay, if you're running it off of a flash drive, which that poor flash drive is getting
Oh
absolutely
yeah, that
tanked,
flashlight is probably what's doing
don't
it.
run Firefox. In fact, don't run really any heavy program, okay? Just don't do that. So after a near 5-6 minute long boot time, yeah, I'm not exaggerating there, we're back into the action. So what have I learned? No Firefox and no playing YouTube videos. That's not happening on this channel, all right? God damn. But of course, if we fire up, we got access to a virtual keyboard. And of course, more importantly, we have got GIMP, okay? So, you know how the Super Nintendo had like Microsoft Paint or some shit? Well, we
That's what
actually
GIMP is?
have the ability to do some light Photoshop work underneath the PlayStation 2. So if you wanted to, edit a photo, if you wanted to make,
For
this
whatever
video's
reason why
thumbnail,
you
for
ever
instance,
want to
as
on
much
a
as it would
PlayStation 2.
suck, it's probably doable right underneath the PlayStation 2 Linux. Okay, so it's loading up GIMP version 1.2. I can't even begin to tell you how outdated this is. But if it's one thing you've noticed, the actual
I was just frozen.
crashed again, dude. It crashed again.
He probably should use like a
Goddamn.
hard drive or something, not a
GIMP
USB.
wait, hold on. Did it actually crash, or is it like? Did it actually crash, or is it just frozen loading? Extension script dot fuck you.
Okay.
Oh boy! I swear to God, guys, I think I'm gonna lose it if I
Let's
have
see
to
again.
restart this every time. Because let me tell you something, these boot times are getting longer and longer. So let's go down the road. Okay, so we've got like emulators over here. So we've got DOSBox, we've got
Dude, I
FreeDOS,
think DOSBox is still used. I don't know about FreeDOS though.
and C64 emulator. So I guess if you wanted to open up DOSBox, and again, one thing I've noticed is also VNC viewers. So if you wanted to patch into like a different system, you clearly can. But as you can see, DOSBox
Oh, I remember that
is
screen, dude.
firing
DOSBox.
up,
Oh my god.
and it's trying to initialize. Now,
Everything's
this means that
flowing
you
back into my
should be able
mind
to run
after I
like
saw
certain
that.
DOS games underneath this. I'm sure that you could probably get like, if I'm not mistaken, you probably could be able to get like Doom functioning underneath this. But yeah, it's just laggy.
You would Doom
Look
on
at it.
anything. A
It's
toaster,
literally the
a
laggiest
fridge,
system right
a
here.
painting.
In fact,
You would think
there's
on
just
anything.
oh wait, no, is it functioning up again? I think it's just like trying to initialize anything for this kind of a system is too much. But yeah, DOSBox is currently trying to breathe. But if you look into the menu over here, you've got other things like editors, you've got utilities, you've got selections. So wait, can we actually, is it fired up? Look at it, it's giving me like CPU cycles,
Oh,
everything.
I thought it said frame rate for a second.
Program, DOSBox. It's taking its time, man. Type command to run. I'm not giving any command here. Okay, so DOSBox is currently still trying to function, but as it's firing up, oh my god, it's so bad, dude. Wait, no,
Dude.
it actually did fire up. Look at that. Look at that. You have yeah, dude, we got a functioning program finally.
Oh my god.
You got DOSBox, dude.
That took that long? He just opened the command prompt. That's all he did.
Now, if you wanted to again play, I'm sure
Well,
if it
terminal,
took this
not
long to
command prompt.
initialize DOSBox, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, running things like Daggerfall must be a cakewalk for this. So I wouldn't even bother wasting my time there. But of course, you've got different editors, so text editors, you've got utilities. So, if you wanted to system update, which
Probably should not do
How
that.
far can you even go? You've also got
You
selection
probably should
tools,
not
like
update this.
copying is a thing here. iToy. So for anybody that forgets, the PlayStation had a little webcam, like the iToy video, iToy audio, and I think there was like a couple games that allowed. I had an iToy growing up, but yeah, if you have the iToy, you can record video on it. Okay, how good the quality of that video will look? Well, I'm sure nothing great whatsoever.
Ha.
But again, you can also modify the system too. So you've got different themes. We've got steel blue silk. Okay. Wait, is it? It's literally trying to change. Oh wait, no, it changed the theme.
Oh
Okay, it didn't
god, that
crash
took
totally.
so
I
long.
actually kind of like this theme a fair bit. You've got styles, blue dawn, black texture. Oh, give me that black texture style, baby. Oh, that's not black
Oh,
texture.
ah,
That's not even close to black texture.
that's
That's
green.
such a lie. Give me brown. What's the difference between that's not even
It's
brown,
blue. Oh
bro? This
god.
isn't even brown. This is a
Oh wait, is it
lie,
based on the theme
bro.
you have in the
Give me
back?
brownish.
So I
Okay.
guess like combining
I mean, I
colors
guess it's
basically.
better than regular brown. Gee, I guess it is technically brownish, right? Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
that one was correct,
But
I
of
guess.
course, we've also got style. Oh, buddy. Okay, we've got a lot more styles to work with. Okay, so
Oh,
I think
that
the
was pretty
styles is
clean.
literally like the header, and that's effectively about it. So again, background. Let's look at the wallpapers here, dude. Images. What images does it have? Crest stars? Show me the stars, baby. Give me those stars in my face. So I guess
Why is he
it's
saying it like that? That's
changing.
so
Okay. Oh
it's
my.
so weird, dude.
The thing is, like, trying to load, like, it's literally trying to load an actual image. It actually is just trying to load an image right now, and it's crash doing that,
You
or
can't
at
load
least
an
it's
image. You
humming.
can't play nothing on
Like,
this
this is
thing.
insane. Okay, PlayStation Linux is insane. And the thing about PlayStation Linux is obviously beyond this. There's not much more other than, I guess, just laughing and looking at this thing as like a novelty. Obviously, do I expect anybody back in the day to be using this thing as a genuine operating system experience? Probably not. I think
Gee,
this is why it took forever to load. By the way, that is a distinctly massive image for what it's. I don't even know what it is. It looks like it's from some anime. But the thing is, obviously, for people who were
that
using,
is a big
PlayStation
looking
Linux
image.
unironically back then, I don't
I
think
didn't
there was
even load
many
the whole thing
people.
and
But
the screen
Sony
wasn't big
didn't
enough.
give up on this idea, and obviously they carried it over to like PlayStation 3 with PS3 Linux. And so, of course,
Oh,
Sony
they
took that
did?
away. But there was a period where Sony was absolutely embracing the idea of effectively having, like
Not
other
anymore.
systems. They were
That's for sure.
effectively embracing the idea of selling you a game console, but at a way giving you the ability to do more with it, which was actually using it as a proper desktop computer. And something that I expected, maybe Microsoft to be doing with the Xbox, Sony decided to do it before any other developer here. And obviously, this whole use your console as a desktop pretty much faded out with the release of the PlayStation 4 because no system has really allowed you to do this. Now, I think it would be sick if Microsoft, with their virtualization technology,
I
would
am
eventually allow.
so surprised Microsoft doesn't make a dual system for gaming and doing work or whatever. I'm so surprised they have not implemented a system like that yet, considering the fact that they literally own Xbox, which is the second. What I don't know how big it is now compared to Nintendo and Sony, but it would say one of the biggest gaming companies all time. We say that anyways. They they don't even try to implement that, which they could, and probably bank off of that too. Probably be the best idea they have.
Allow you to use a portion of your Xbox as a Windows 10 gaming
Yeah,
PC because that, ladies and gentlemen, I think has some serious bones on it. Imagine playing PC versions of your favorite
you
shooters
yeah
with
you
your
could you could. That's a good point too. You could play PC games from your Xbox. Like you want to need a PC, then everyone would go for Xboxes instead, because they can just play the favorite games from the Xbox.
friends
They
with
would
the
bank off of
Xbox. That
that.
would be impressive, but that's a whole different separate story. This is PlayStation 2 Linux, so if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am
I'm
out.
surprised they haven't utilized that yet. Did you not say I'm out here? Oh well. Anyways, I thought that's pretty interesting. I think I should try doing Linux on a PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 as well. I get PS3 for cheaper. They said the software was on for free. Let's see, PS3 Linux. I see something 2 years ago. Other OS. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. You'll probably mess around with that at some point. I don't know. That's something I'm probably gonna do on my own time anyways.